You are more than capable of achieving, accomplishing, doing, and creating all the things that you desire. But sometimes we have that little voice in the back of our head that says we're not capable, we're not competent, or we're not even qualified enough. And that is imposter syndrome. And most of the time, this isn't even because you lack the skill, because you can be extremely talented, you can be capable, and you can be overqualified even. But it happens when there's a cognitive distortion to where you feel as though you can't internalize those accomplishments. So instead of attributing your success and accomplishments to your actual skill and competence, you may start to look at it as just luck, good timing, or people just giving you the benefit of the doubt. And it's pretty interesting because once we go into new levels of visibility or responsibility, the brain starts to perceive that uncertainty as a threat. So then the amygdala activates, our self-doubt increases, and our brain starts scanning for ways to prove that we are not capable and qualified. So for today's Tyy Tuesday, I'll be speaking on imposter syndrome, the causes, how to work through it, as well as how to just embody confidence and show up without having to shrink yourself. So if you're interested, let's get into it. Hi lovelies, welcome back to my channel and welcome if you're new. My name is Tyla. Thank you so much for joining me for today's Tyy Tuesday. Today is all about imposter syndrome. So if this is something that you struggle with, let's get right into it. So for starters, let's break down imposter syndrome on a psychological level. So imposter syndrome is a cognitive distortion that also leads to perfectionism. And when this happens, sometimes it can create a fear of evaluation, because if you're so focused on how you're showing up, how you're being perceived, and how you're performing, then you start to worry more about how you're being evaluated as opposed to just showing up in your true authenticity. So it's usually common for one in high achievers, and this is because usually when you're a high achiever, you want to make sure that you are at the top of the top. So you're always going to be looking on things to improve, always looking for ways to get better, which means that sometimes you won't even feel or see your true sense of value because you're so focused on going to that next level. It's also really common in first generation success. So say that you're the first person in your family that is breaking generational curses, creating success, breaking even poverty patterns. This is going to be a common thing that you may experience as well. It's also really common for creatives, for women, and people just entering any new room and any new space. Now, this is something that is really prevalent too, even if you're just on a healing journey and you're just in a state of evolution and growth. Because once you start breaking free from old previous patterns, behaviors, and ways that you used to be and embodying somebody that is completely new, you're going to still feel that sense of being drawn to who you were in the past, which is going to create that cognitive dissonance to where you feel as though you're not really who it is that you're becoming. And when this happens, your nervous system tends to feel exposed and vulnerability feels unsafe. Visibility also feels unsafe. And this is when you start getting into the comparisons. So you might notice that you start comparing yourself to people that are also on a higher level than you, or people that may seem to be better than you or in a better position or more talented, capable, whatever the case may be. And our brain and our body is always trying to protect us. So then it gets to a point where your brain feels better being small and certain than big and visible. So let's get into the signs, starting with number one, and that is overworking to prove yourself. With imposter syndrome, you can find yourself kind of getting into this loop where you always feel like you have to overperform and to prove that you really are who you say you are, that you really are as talented as you say you are, or as qualified and capable as you are. And that's not to say that you can't strive to be better or keep working towards being the best. It just becomes unhealthy when you notice that you're only focused on being better and not acknowledging where you are and the things that you do embody in the present. The second sign is if you tend to downplay praise. If you notice that you're not really good with taking compliments, or when people do boost you up or hype you up when it comes to something that you do or that you're working on, and you notice that it's really hard for you to actually believe those compliments, that's a huge sign that you may be struggling with imposter syndrome. We're our biggest critics at the end of the day. There will always be people that will have comments and things to say about what it is that you do, who it is that you're becoming, but you have to be the one to know who you are and to embody that energy and fully believe that and step into that confidence. The third one is when you have a fear of being exposed. If you notice that visibility scares you, or you notice that it's really hard for you to be seen and to let yourself be seen, that is a huge sign that you are struggling with imposter syndrome. And there are so many factors that go into why you perceive yourself in a certain way, why you think certain things about yourself. It can come down to trauma, certain experiences that you've had. But it's up to us to get to that core reason as to why we have these certain doubts and beliefs so that we can create a new self-concept. The more confident that you get in yourself, the more that you love on yourself and tend to yourself and embody who you are to your fullest, the more it's going to be easy for you to put yourself out there and to actually have faith in who it is that you are and who you're becoming. The fourth sign is if you are constantly comparing yourself. If you notice that you're always comparing yourself to somebody that's in your similar field or just somebody that you know, somebody that's doing better than you, then that is also a sign that you are struggling with imposter syndrome. So try not to fall into comparisons, because once you start comparing yourself, you're taking away the beauty, the light, and the talent that you have and what makes you special and sets you apart from somebody else. When it comes to your style, your energy, who you are, the way that you show up, that is unique to you and that's your power. When you start focusing too much on somebody else, even if they're in the same niche as you, you're kind of falling into their energy. You're not really embodying who you are as a person. And authenticity is, now they say, the most attractive or the highest frequency. Just embodying who you are and showing up to your fullest is what's going to set you apart, and that energy is going to attract everything that you want. And the last one is when you just feel like you're lucky. You just get opportunities because you're lucky, because you just happen to get it, not because you're talented and you're skilled and because you actually deserve the opportunity. So know that the next time that you get an opportunity to do something, it's not because it was luck or because you just got the opportunity because somebody just thought you'd be a good fit. It's because you're meant to get that opportunity and that job. It would not have came to you if you were not ready and prepared. And yes, sometimes preparation does help, but a lot of the times you learn things in the midst of just going after it and getting it done. That's something that I have really learned, especially on like my art journey when I was doing art and just showcasing and doing all these different things that were really outside of my comfort zone. Yes, it is scary, but you have to understand that if opportunity comes to you, it's because it's supposed to be for you. So do not slip on these opportunities by feeling like you're not good enough or you're not capable, because you're more than capable and you're lying to yourself. So don't do that to yourself. Now let's go into some tips and things that can help you to overcome it, starting with evidence journaling. So with evidence journaling, this is pretty much just writing down all the ways in which you have proof that you are qualified and capable. So say that you get an opportunity and it's something that you really wanted and you were nervous because you felt like you weren't good for the job, but you get the job. That's reaffirming or affirming that you are capable and talented enough to take that job. So that is evidence that supports the belief that you are capable. It could even be as simple as writing down the compliments that you receive when it comes to your craft. Once you start to see, okay, wow, like people really do feel this way about me, and it's different kinds of people saying these things, or it's different experiences that I'm attracting because of my talent, because of my business, or what I have to offer, that will help you in turn to feel a lot more confident in who you are and not really fall into imposter syndrome. The next one is to separate growth discomfort from incompetence. A lot of the times when we do have a certain job or opportunity that's presented to us, we do get that anxiety that's kind of like, I'm nervous, like, is this really for me? Am I really ready for this? And that's extremely normal, and that's just from growing. Growth is extremely uncomfortable always. And so you have to keep in mind that when you do have this feeling, it's not because you actually are not competent, it's because you're experiencing growth, and that uncertainty and that discomfort is kind of what makes you lean more into the I'm not ready, because it's not something that you always want to face and step up to. The next major tip is to track consistency and not perfection. Once you start falling into perfection and being perfect, then any moment that you have a slip up, you're going to feel bad about yourself. When you can focus more on consistency and just creating that routine, creating that discipline, and being consistent in what you do, even if it looks different from each day, that is really going to help you to overcome and break free from imposter syndrome. And the last tip, and this is a major one, but that is to expand your capacity slowly. This is something that I've really noticed, especially when it comes to shifting timelines and just attracting things at a fast rate, sometimes our nervous system and our body is not always ready to meet us at that point. So you have to work on building your capacity slowly. If you know that you're not fully comfortable with something yet, yes, you don't always have to jump right in. So it does really help to do small things and just go little by little when it comes to expanding your capacity so that overall you don't feel so overwhelmed. So the last thing that I want to leave with you all is to know that you are not an imposter. You are just adjusting to a new identity, and that's not always easy. So be patient with yourself and continue to affirm to yourself that you are who it is that you're becoming, that you are talented, that you are capable. Really speak life into yourself, especially when you notice that you start slipping into those thoughts. Me personally, I love affirmations because anytime that I'm just having an overwhelming amount of negative thoughts and I can play some affirmations, that just automatically overrides all the negative things that I'm thinking. And I'm filling my mind with positivity and with uplifting words of encouragement that help me to reprogram not only my subconscious, but my self-concept. So I do hope that you all enjoyed this video and found it very useful. If you did, please be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hype this video up because I know that they have like a new feature on YouTube where you can hype a video. I would appreciate and love that so much. But I love you all. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you in my next video. Peace out and much love.